Hey everyone, so we are doing summoning a spirit right now. We're actually summoning two different spirits on two different items. So the first one is this, and when I got the email, when I first opened it up and I saw that thing, it literally felt like the spirit like ran into my chest. It was just bam, right there. So I'm going to be talking to him. Now, there's a couple of things that I've been told in the email about him. Now, I've been told his name. We're not going to say his name. But there's a couple of things that I've talked to him about. Just like, I want to say it was passive. It wasn't even like me full on opening up. It was just very passive impressions that I was getting from him. So the first thing is that he's very, very old. The name that he is called by is not his original name. He actually spelled it out to me. It's more like an ancient type of name, which I will include in the email. But he said that the name that you call him by, he has adopted it basically at this point. So he's fine with it. He doesn't care. He's pretty passive about it. He doesn't care if you don't call him by his regular name. He's kind of adapted the name that he has been using. That the REM pod just went off. So he has kind of been, he's kind of adapted to that name. So it's fine if you keep calling him that. Now, another thing is, you don't have to be that close. You be right here. It's fine. He, like I said, he is ancient. I mean, like, ancient. We're talking like Egyptian times, Greek times, Roman times. Ancient. We're talking about like BC ancient. Were you Canaanite? Alright, so that's how ancient. He was Canaanite. Canaanites in the modern world do not exist. They have not existed for thousands of years. So, he was originally from Canaan. He was a soldier. He died young. I want to say he was, he didn't make it to his late 30s. I want to say he's like maybe 36, 37, 36. He didn't die in battle. He's not really giving me something. It wasn't disease. I kind of feel like he's almost embarrassed how he died. Yeah, he's embarrassed how he died. Why is it so embarrassing? I mean, he had an accident, but he's embarrassed to divulge it. Do you really not want to divulge it to me? Okay, he doesn't, he's embarrassed. I could push, but I'm not going to make him. He's embarrassed. Now, one of the things that is alleged about him is that he's a vampire. really? He's a sneaky little shit, is what he is. It's not that he's a bad guy. He just... I'm trying to think of the best way to phrase this. I mean, it's nothing to be alarmed about. I'm just trying to put this in the best way, given his character. Because he's not a bad guy. It's just that he has to know where all the players on the chessboard are. And he has to know the scenario. And I don't know if that's like his soldier training. So the reason why I say he's a sneaky little shit is because he was kind of like sleight of hand, like trying to distract me with one thing while he was locking off like a portion. And how I say that is it was like, the best way to describe it is that it was like he was coming out of a room and he didn't want me to know what was in there. And he was trying to distract me by telling me different things of his life while he's like slowly closing this door behind him so that I wouldn't like look in it. But I kind of like heard there was something there, almost like a click or something of him like closing a door. And I'm like, what was that? And he was like, nothing. And I'm like, did you really think you're gonna hide something from me? And he didn't say no, but he didn't want to admit it. And I said, so because you're hiding something from me, now I need to know what it is. And he kind of sighed and he said, all right, so what I do is I go into people's dreams and I'm in there and I'm watching everything, but I don't make my presence known. And he was like, I know what's inside of everybody's mind. And I said, so it's not just that you're watching a dream, you're actually going through their mind while they're sleeping and their walls are down. And he said, yeah. So that's why I said he's a sneaky little shit, because he was kind of trying to hide that from me. But again, he's not a bad guy. He just... he kind of want to knows where everybody is, I guess. Things that aren't being said, reasons behind actions. That's what he's doing in there. And I think part of it is a little bit of insecurity. So if that's something that you're not comfortable with, it's something that you have to address with him. But yeah, he did kind of try to hide that he was doing that from me. And I caught him on that. He's not a vampire. He's just not. He's not even a psi vampire. I mean, going into somebody's mind while they're sleeping isn't even a psi vampire, because he's not affecting you, he's not draining you, he's not doing any of that. So he's not in any way a vampire at all. He finds where he is in his life an interesting place. He's not unhappy, he's not happy, he's just he's just seeing, I guess he's waiting. Waiting to see what's, I don't even think he really even knows what he's waiting for. He doesn't know what's next for him. And he doesn't know where his life is going to take him. But for now, he's just content to be where he is. He's not unhappy. He's not unhappy at all. He's just, the thing is, I really don't get emotions off of him. Like some spirits, I can feel their sadness. Some spirits are just like, I can feel their sarcasm, their personality. I really don't feel like a personality from him. It's not a bad thing, and I don't think he's a sociopath. He's not that. I just think it has a lot to do with the time and the period where he was brought up, the location, his soldier training. He never really like formed attachments to people. He was never really close to anybody, so that's kind of like followed him over, you know, into this part. So it's not like he's got deficiencies or he's crazy. He just, you know, I mean, life was very different back then, and it was a lot harder than it is now. But it's not negative at all. It's just he just doesn't give off a lot of himself, really. I mean, if he were one of my spirits, he wouldn't be one of my favorites. I mean, sorry, I'm not trying to insult you. You wouldn't be one of my favorites because, you know, my favorites have personality. They're jokesters, or they're like super affectionate. But he's like a solid presence. He's kind of there. It's like he's present. I mean, that's the best way I can put it. He's present. And it's probably the best that he can commit to, basically, being present. Is there any, I mean, I know you wanted to come and speak to me. Is there anything you wanted to say? Anything that you wanted me to say for you? So that's basically just all you want. You wanted to, like, be read, basically. And okay, that's all I wanted. Okay, so now the next one is this. And so there were a couple of things that I got off of him, like straight off the bat. Now, first of all, that picture was taken when he was young. I think he said he was like 13 in that. Now, he had a nickname. Now, I'll say the nickname. His nickname was Philly. That wasn't his name. I've already told the person that owns this photo what his name was. And he had a condition, and the condition was called, I hope I'm saying it right, scleroderma. Am I saying that right? Okay. So what he basically demonstrated to me, so what scleroderma is chronic hardening and tightening of the skin and connective tissues. Now, his issue was, it was in his chest. So gradually it became harder and harder for him to take deep breaths and expand his chest. He couldn't bend over, because even when you bend over, it causes like a curve of your spine, and it was painful for him. When he was younger, he actually was like in kind of like a brace around his middle to try to keep him as still as possible to mitigate the pain. But as he got older, was I right in this image? Were you inside of an iron lung? That's what I thought. I thought he was giving me the sensation of what it felt like inside of an iron lung. Now, when you're inside of an iron lung, and you can look up the pictures, you really can't do anything. It's not like you're bedridden, where you can pick up a book and read, or you can change the channel with the remote, or knit, or something. Your hands, like your whole body is inside the iron lung. The only thing that's sticking out is your head. So you can't do anything. The remote's not going to work through the lung. So you're kind of like at other people's mercy. You have to have help. So he spent a good portion of his years at a sanatorium. Now, sometimes I confuse sanatorium with sanitarium. Sanitarium is for crazy people, right? And sanatorium was for people that almost were like invalid. They needed like round. It's like a nursing home. Basically, I think they changed the name to nursing home because it was too close to sanitarium, and there's that stigma. So I think they changed that to like basically like a nursing home. But that's what he was in, basically. Did you spend your final years inside the iron lung? I mean, even inside the iron lung, it was still, his condition was deteriorating. I mean, they knew that this was eventually going to, he would not be able to expand his chest anymore. And if you can't expand your chest, you can't breathe in. And if you can't breathe, you're going to die. That's just how it happens. They didn't have like blood bypass, like, actually, even with that, even if you're on oxygen, you still have to be able to expand and contract your lungs to breathe. So, okay, so because you're in the iron lung and you really don't have like a lot of options. So at that time, like TV was like in its infancy. So they didn't really have like TVs in there, but you had radios. You had like the little transistor radios that were coming out, and he would listen to baseball. So that was America's pastime. It was really big. This is like in like the late 50s, early 60s, so it was really big back then. And he kind of was like a rabid sports fan, because there's nothing else to do besides listen to sports on the radio. And he was a Phillies fan. Now, he's not from Philadelphia. He's actually from Pittsburgh. But he had to be in Philadelphia for his treatments. That was the closest city that had the most amenities for what he needed. Like doctor-wise, health-wise, machinery. So he was in Philadelphia, but he was originally from Pittsburgh. Because you couldn't read the newspaper, you couldn't do anything. Like, the only thing he really kind of had to talk about was sports. So that's how he got his nickname, Philly. Needless to say, he never married, he never had kids. He barely graduated high school, and he was actually in the hospital for, I want to say, most of his senior year. So the only way he actually was able to graduate high school was because he was turning in his schoolwork from his hospital bed, and that's how he got his diploma. But he was not able to go to college. He didn't go to college. I don't think he ever held down a job because he couldn't do it. He spent most of his life, let me turn this off. He spent most of his life in hospitals. From the time he was 17, he was basically either in hospitals or nursing homes. When he was younger, he was able to take day trips. He had to be in a wheelchair though, because walking was too much exertion and would cause, he would breathe harder and that would cause more pain, so he had to be in a wheelchair if he went out. He's not sad about it either. He said everybody has things that they have to deal with in their life. That's what was given to me. He's like, and I did the best I could with it. I want to say he lived until he was 53. Because he's an older man. He's sitting right here, and he's an older man. Definitely not as young as that photo. His family they weren't rich, but they had money. So paying for his care was nothing. He had a brother, just one brother. He didn't have any sisters. he's kind of ambiguous about his brother. Like, even growing up, they weren't really that close. Was he a younger brother? No, he was an older brother. He was 7 years older. His brother was 7 years older. So there was an age gap. And then by the time he really started like getting sick and having problems, the brother was already in high school. He was basically like making his way out into the world. So it's not like there was any bad feelings, like the parents were devoting more time to him than the brother, and the brother got neglected. At that point, it was like almost a moot point, because the brother was like going off making his own way in the world, pretty much. But as they got older, the divide between them got bigger. That's the way he put it. The divide got bigger. And he's just saying, what he means is, the brother was out living his life, having a career, getting married, having kids, blah, blah, blah. And basically his life was the hospital or the sanatorium. He had no outside world other than that. So their drift got wider and wider. He said his brother always remembered him on his birthday and Christmas. And he would come and visit. I mean, so it's not like he like totally neglected. He came and visited. He came when their mother died. And he told him, you know, in person that their mother had died. I don't feel that he was well enough to go to the funeral. But the brother spent the whole day with him. It wasn't just like an hour. It wasn't just to stop by. He did spend the whole day with them. I feel like his father outlived him. The father would call and they would talk on the phone, but the father didn't make in-person visits, especially when he got older. It was too much to come up from Pittsburgh for him. I feel like his brother actually died before him. It's very sad. He wasn't that close to his brother, but it was his brother. He loved his brother. And he's very sad about that. He said it was his heart. It's like heart failure. I don't feel like he He had a niece. He had 2 nieces. Did you ever see? He never saw his nieces. And your sister-in-law? He met her a couple of times, but it was always the brother that would come when he would come. And he would come alone. He said he wasn't like sad or lonely. He's like, it sounds very strange, but the people that were in the lungs, we were like a family because we were all in the same ward. So we would talk, we would, He was like, I wasn't lonely. I wasn't alone. And he's not sad about it. There was a girl in an iron lung next to him, and her name was Connie. He wasn't like in love with her or anything. They were just really, really good friends. And he doesn't feel sad about his life, but he feels sad about her life. Because she wanted to do like so much and she couldn't, and he's actually sad for her. Do you know what happened with Connie? I know he died before Connie. He doesn't want to talk about what happened with Connie. Is there anything that you want me to relay for you? Is there anything that you want to say? Anything else? No. He just wanted to say it's all good. And he's like encompassing everything. He's encompassing his physical life and his afterlife. He's like, it's all good. And he wanted to say thank you. Anything else? He said he wants to find Connie. Do you know if Connie crossed over? She crossed over? If she crossed over, we can't bring her back to this plane. Are you saying that you want to go? You want to be released so you can find Connie? No. You want Connie brought back here. That's the one thing I can't do for you. Once they're on another plane, they're out of my reach. I can't do it. Said, damn. Is that why you wanted to talk to me? You were hoping I could get Connie for you? I can't summon her from another plane. I mean, I probably could, but I'm already in deep enough trouble. I'm not supposed to do that. And I've already been warned, don't do stuff like that. So the only way you'd be able to see Connie again is if you crossed. He don't wanna. He doesn't wanna. He's sitting here. He was like, I get it. I mean, it's. He's disappointed, but he's not upset. He just wanted to talk to her again, make sure she's okay, see how she is, but he's not mad or upset. He's just disappointed that he can't talk to her again. Is there anything else? Anything else I could do for you? No. That's one of the main reasons why he wanted to see me. Because he wanted to see if I could put him in contact with Connie. But he said, other than that, it's all good. You know, he's not like suffering, at least anymore. Not well, he's not suffering physically, but he's not suffering emotionally either. I wouldn't say it was a positive outlook on the life that he had. It was a pragmatic outlook. It was like, it is what it is. This is my cross that I have to bear, and he bore it, and he was like, now it's over. So there's nothing else he really wants from me. So both of them are pretty much, they're quiet now. They don't have anything else to say. So that is going to wrap up this video for summoning a spirit. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye for now.